Good afternoon, evening, whenever you're watching this. Deborah Roth here from Spirited Living, and delighted to have you back here, although a little different this week. This is the time and sacred space that I create my Inner Goddess Team videos, where we really play with all the aspects of the Divine Feminine, particularly as they're embodied, as they're personified by all the goddesses from around the world, from every culture, from every tradition. I'm doing a little departure today and invite you to join in, and I probably will be doing more of these. I will actually, I think for the first time, not be focusing on an actual goddess or even I've occasionally done amazing women from history somewhere. Today, for a number of reasons, and I'll explain to you why, I am going to be looking at the kundalini meditation practice called Kirtan Kriya that I've become an absolute devotee of, and it seemed particularly appropriate since we're in Mercury retrograde. So my request would be, if you like what you hear, please let me know in the comments. Like the video, you can go and see this on my YouTube channel tomorrow, with much more of a description, with some of the links that I've discovered to really deepen this practice. And please just think about ways that you can bring this into your own life. And depending on the timing, I'll be able to lead you through a little sample of it. So, on that note, so Kirtan Kriya, I was first exposed to this particular meditation in this wonderful book called The Om Factor, written by Elka Dillon. And it just included so many wonderful meditations to cultivate your success and well-being, is something to do with the subtitle of the book. And in it, she describes this meditation. Kirtan in Sanskrit means singing. Kriya is movement, and it's one of the things I love about it. I'm always big on any sort of embodied meditation, which is why I've talked about the positive intelligence practice, the coaching that I'm working with people on. That it involves some kind of movement of your body, not just and of course, changing our perspective mentally, physically, emotionally, every way is important, but I think every time we can particularly bring our bodies in, it's really even more powerful. So Kirtan Kriya is a combination of chanting, which if you've watched my videos before, you know I love to chant and sing, and movement, or in this case, mudras. Now, mudras are sacred hand movements that, and in this case, accompany the chant very specifically, and each one triggers a different part of your brain. Just like each syllable of the Kirtan Kriya chant triggers different points literally in your mouth, which activate different neurotransmitters in your brain. So it's pretty amazing, because it's also been scientifically researched, with specifically and probably most notably through the Harvard, I don't know if it was Harvard Business School or one of the Harvard programs, but also recommended by the Alzheimer's Association, Alzheimer's Research Foundation. And the way, just in a nutshell, how it works, the chant itself is based on the phrase Saa-Taa-Naa-Maa, and the chant breaks up Saa-Taa-Naa-Maa into 4 different syllables. Saa-Taa-Naa-Maa, off the top of my head, I'm forgetting exactly what that means, but each of the 4, and I'll find it in a minute, each of the 4 syllables are Saa-Taa-Naa-Maa. And you start with your thumb and your index finger, and that's the first Sat, Na, Ma, Na. And that's all there is to it. Typically, I sit cross-legged, with my hands kind of, I can't really show you, but with my hands kind of across my legs. And it's repeating Saa-Taa-Naa-Maa first out loud as you do the mudras, the sacred finger movements. And then you do that. It can be multiples of this, but you can do it the way that I do it is 2 minutes out loud, Saa-Taa-Naa-Maa, then 2 minutes whispering, Saa-Taa-Naa-Maa, and then 4 minutes silently, but still continuing to say in your head, Saa-Taa-Naa-Maa, as you do the finger movements. And then after 4 minutes, you do 2 minutes of whispering, Saa-Taa-Naa-Maa, and then wrapping it all up out loud again with Saa-Taa-Naa-Maa. And I'll sing the tune for you. It's very simple. I will also include on my YouTube channel, in the description there, the really amazing 40-day challenge that I did, that a wonderful spiritual teacher, Jennifer Hadley, created. And I've sent many people to her. I should tell her someday that I've done that. That also includes a video that you can follow, so you don't have to sit there and figure when 2 minutes is up and 4 minutes is up and that kind of thing. So just Saa-Taa-Naa-Maa, give you a little bit of kind of mental information about this. It's basically birth, life, death, and rebirth. Specifically, the Sa, with touching your thumb to your forefinger, is birth, infinity, cosmos, and beginning. Ta is life and existence. Na is death, totality, and transition. And then that last thumb to pinky finger is Ma, which is rebirth and renewal. So, and then what I typically do afterwards is I say the whole Sat Nam, and I'll show you again, I'll show you very briefly. And I've also included in here several different other modalities that I've picked up in other places. But I typically end by doing just a very, couple of these. And then when I'm doing the breathing, I imagine, and this is one of the things that Jennifer Hadley suggests in her 40-day challenge, that as you're breathing in, you imagine energy coming in through the crown of your head and then breathing out through your third eye. How I have expanded on that is really kind of out of one of the books that I wrote about in my blog, I think back in May, called Breathe by James Nestor, because he talks about how important it is, how we've messed up breathing in our culture, and that we need to be doing more belly breathing. So it's in as I'm expanding my stomach, breathing in through the, in through the top of my head, and then out to 4 counts during the Saa-Taa-Naa-Maa, out through my third eye as I'm, contracting my stomach. So there's all kinds of other little things to add to it. I'm really happy to guide people through it. I've taught now several different groups about Kirtan Kriya and showed how it works. So the reason that this came up, and I kind of put off the goddess I was going to talk about this week, is that starting on September 9th and going till October 2nd, we are in Mercury retrograde, which happens 3 or 4 times a year. You got to live with it. It can really fuzzy up our mental capacities, but by the same token, it's really a time that we can focus on all the rewords I say: renewal, regenerate, re-energize. It's really a time to go within, because you're not supposed to start all kinds of new projects during Mercury retrograde. And the scientific research that's been done was another book that I wrote about in my most recent blog. If you look on my website, How God Changes Your Brain. And apparently, a friend of mine recommended the book. It turns out that the book is written by the main researcher for the Alzheimer's Foundation, who discovered and who very closely studied how this worked neuroscientifically, that let's see, a couple different things. Reverses memory loss. It is improving sleep quality and psychological well-being. And it increases the telomerase, which is it increases telomerase, which is the rejuvenating enzyme that helps slow down aging, by 43%, which apparently is the largest, I'm sorry, did I say increase or decrease? I'm sorry, increases telomerase ever recorded. So the idea is that it really pumps up our cognitive awareness, our memory, reduces stress. It's got all these very verifiable, scientifically proven, and the Alzheimer's Foundation puts it out there as such, for our mental emotional health. So I encourage you to to read more. I'll put some in the comments, but then it'll also be all up on my YouTube channel, which is just go to YouTube and do Deborah Roth tomorrow, and I put a much longer description there. So very briefly, it goes like this, and I'll put my fingers up high so that you get a sense of what I'm doing. Saa-Taa-Naa-Maa, 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 Saa-Taa-Naa-Maa. That's 2 minutes, and then you switch to whispering. Saa-Ta-Na-Ma, 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 Saa-Ta-Na-Ma. And then you go into silence for 4 minutes. All the while I'm saying in my head, Saa-Ta-Na-Ma, Saa-Ta-Na-Ma. You're doing that for 4 minutes. And again, still continuing to, as you're breathing in and out, breathing very slowly. In as you expand your stomach through your crown chakra, and out through the third eye as you contract your stomach. So you come out of 4 minutes of silence and then back into whisper for 2 minutes. Saa-Ta-Na-Ma, Saa-Ta-Na-Ma. That's for 2 minutes. And then final 2 minutes. Saa-Ta-Na-Ma, Saa-Ta-Na-Ma, Saa-Ta-Na-Ma. And then when I get to the end of that, I then do a big sweep up. I got things in the way. And I, do my hands up like so. And then I if you're a yoga person, you know about bandhas, but you bring in your pelvic floor and your sacrum, and then lock this top bandha and just kind of count to 10 and then I do that 2 more times. And then do a Sat-Nam. And Sat-Nam itself has to do with your true, there it is, your true identity, your true essence is what that phrase means in Sanskrit. So I hope, I'm happy to answer any questions about it. Please reach out and let me know if you want to know more. And definitely check out some of if you want to do the 40-day challenge. I actually did it in November, right in the midst of November of 2020, right as the pandemic was, really at its height. And I just continue to do it every day. It's one of my very favorite morning meds, my morning meditations. So thanks so much for joining me. Enjoy some Kirtan Kriya and explore it. I think you will find it truly powerful. Wonderful to be with you. Namaste.